Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Thanks for having me, Dan. So I'm Karnik Shah. I'm based in Mumbai, India. I'm the founder of a D2C snack food brand called Prime Foods. So we basically, we have a range of snacks that we started as a digitally native brand in India in the midst of the pandemic, when a lot of people were like exploring different snacking options. That's how we started, with basically primarily like a basic storefront that we created to just get a proof of concept. Slowly, we built out like a presence on various marketplaces, starting with Amazon. We have Flipkart here in India. We have smaller marketplaces which cater to more like organic and healthier foods. Yeah, so that's a little bit about what I do.
Awesome. So like, what made you want to actually start this company?
So, Dan, there was a lot of, I'm a big snacker myself. Throughout our childhood and like growing up in India, we weren't really told as to what's healthy, what's unhealthy. Everyone just ate like the generic, like mass produced, like we have Lay's in India, Cheetos. We have some Indian variants that are slightly similar. And everyone just produced that. No one really thought about it. I actually came to the States for my undergrad in 2007. I went to USC, and it was there where I first like visited stores like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, and I saw the evolution, because in America also, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, most people were snacking on Lay's and Doritos and Cheetos. And I saw the movement towards like organic food, like sustainable, like sustainably sourced, good, clean label foods. And that was my first inspiration, but I never really my life continued. I got a job, I was working, didn't really think much of it. In India, I saw the trend shift in like mid 2010s, around 2015, 16, where big brands were being called out for like harmful ingredients. People were becoming more and more conscious of what they're putting into their bodies. And then during COVID, like just by circumstance, I was working as an education consultant previously. Overnight, like the number of applicants seeking overseas studies during the pandemic just completely dropped. I think from over 200 customers, we went to like 20 clients or so. And it was then when I made the hard decision to sort of pivot. And I always wanted to do something in e-commerce. And I saw like a bunch of new brands coming out in India, but most of them were targeting like the gym buffs and like really health conscious people with like protein bars and trail mixes. And that was a category where I already saw some development, and I saw that there's a market for. And I chose to not like pursue like a full like health angle where I just wanted to target like people who need protein in their diet, but I wanted to create a brand where snacking is the main goal, the satisfaction you derive from snacking, the indulgence, but at the same time like removing harmful ingredients like flour, not cooking it in palm oil. So if I talk a little bit about our products also, we've created like these crackers which are millet based, they're completely baked, and we thought of that as a replacement for like people have like a biscuit or a cookie with their afternoon tea, and that has a lot of flour and sugar. So instead of replacing the biscuits with a cracker which is baked, which has ingredients like flaxseed, sesame seeds, which are rich in antioxidants, we thought that was a good entry point. These crackers are also widely used now for people who have it with dips and cheeses and stuff. Similarly, we created sweet potato chips, which in India, sweet potato chips weren't that big that time. Everyone was having deep fried potato chips. So we thought we'd vacuum fry sweet potato chips, have some interesting flavors, and that was how we launched another product subcategory. So we've done the same thing in India. We have this thing called namkeens, where people have like these snacks called bhujia and stuff. Most of those snacks are deep fried in palm oil. So we created baked versions of those where they're not fried at all. They're made in the oven. So that was our objective, like just to, sorry if I'm digressing, but just to
That's good, yeah.
to cater to people who enjoy snacking, who view that as an indulgent activity, but at the same time have become a little more conscious about the ingredients, about what's going into their body. So that was like the idea and the ethos that we started with.
For sure. So I guess like as of now, right, like you mentioned, you started this as sort of like a D2C brand. So are you in retail now also, or are you only focused on e-commerce? Like, what does that look like for you?
So we started as a D2C brand. Initially we got good proof of concept. We were getting with the early adopters, we were getting good repeat orders and everything was looking good. Then we realized like the whole Facebook, Apple thing, and like Facebook ad, like in India it became, because you think India is a country of 130 million people, but that's not really true, because our audience, like the spending in India, the consumption is limited to like a fifth, like our audience is a fifth of India's population and not the entire population. So we're looking at like 25, 30 million people. So Facebook ads, even Amazon ads to some extent became a little more costly. So we slowly built out a presence in brick and mortar through, we didn't target like the big basket, like the big bucket stores in India, but we went for like specialty gourmet stores. We went to people like, there are a lot of cheese companies in India who sell cheese, like premium cheese. So we thought crackers was like the perfect complementary product to that. So we approached a lot of those people. So yeah, we did move offline, but in a very limited and very sustainable way.
For sure. So I guess like as of now, right, are you being sold only in India, or can people buy your products globally? Or I guess even like what is your vision for the business in terms of where you want to sell this product?
So we have actually received many inquiries, many from the states where there's a lot of Indian diaspora. Two, three girls were creating different, like someone was trying to create a snack subscription service in America for Indian products. So we have received offers, but firstly we have to change our packaging because we have to meet like local requirements. Secondly, we have the initial FDA approval, but we need to get to the later stages of the FDA approvals. But there are definitely plans, although I don't see us personally reaching out and trying to export in big volumes. If there's someone who's interested in the product who wants to start something niche, then definitely, because our products are currently like cater to the Indian palate. Like when developing them, the kind of flavors we use, like we have like tandoori masala and stuff, which I love, but I think for a large percentage of like the American population will be a little too spicy. Yeah. So right now only in India.
For sure. So I guess like for 2024 specifically, like what are some of your biggest objectives? Like what would, I mean, obviously now we're about to wrap up Q1, right? So like what would like the rest of this year look like to be successful for you?
So a massive stumbling block for me has actually been, like in America, you have Instacart. We have 2, 3 quick commerce platforms in India called Instamart, which is by Swiggy. Another one called Blinkit, which is by Zomato. And those two are like the biggest guys in the food. They're giants in the food delivery space, both billion-dollar companies. And another 1 or 2 quick commerce players. And they've all been burdened with D2C brands approaching them to keep their products or stock their products. I've not had any luck with them. I've been like, it's on my weekly to-do list to contact the representative from each of those 4 companies. It's been very difficult because they all have like their overcapacity with like 80 to 100,000 SKUs when their capacity is about 55,000. So convincing them has been I've done everything from going in person, getting a small gift with me, calling, pleading. It's not happened so far, but that because I've seen reports also in India, quick commerce adoption is through the roof. Like people are predicting that it's gonna, especially in the food and beverage category, it's gonna overtake like the e-commerce marketplaces like Amazon and Flipkart in the next 12 to 18 months. So I think for me, the natural progression would be to develop a presence, if not in all 4, at least in a couple of these quick commerce marketplaces. Because at the end of the day, even the products, like the discoverability, the visibility, like these are all impulse purchases when people are like late at night when you're hungry and you're just scrolling for like snacks. A lot of people may not have heard of a brand, but they see like sweet potato peri peri chips and they're like, okay, that sounds interesting. And so even to reach a wider audience and grow a top line, I think that's the next step that I'm targeting.
For sure.
Aside from this, our presence right now in India is limited to Mumbai and like the region around, like small cities around Mumbai. But I want to build like more of a pan-India presence. I want to cater to like 3, 4 more metropolitan cities like Ahmedabad, Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore. So those 2 are like definitely expanding our offline presence and getting into quick commerce.
For sure. But like, are you still focused on scaling up your D2C? Like, are you still running like ads like on Meta or like other channels, things like that?
So we've actually, I think, I don't know, like Meta's been a little erratic in the last month or 2.
Yeah.
So we've actually scaled down our Meta budgets in the last month or so because it was just getting nowhere. We were just like donating money to Zuckerberg. So I just put the brakes on that for a little bit till Meta also, because I'm speaking to founders in other categories and it seems to be a universal problem and seems to be not an India specific problem. Like I think it's global.
Yes. Yeah.
So we've scaled down Meta budgets. Hopefully Meta will figure this out in the next month or 2. But we want to continue D2C as is because I think it's especially for our repeat customers to get like good quality customers. It's been a very useful tool for us.
For sure. So obviously now in 2024, many companies use AI in their business. So do you guys use AI? And if not, like where can the AI come in and add value?
So that's very interesting because just today on Twitter, I saw some video of of an AI
I saw
generated
that. Yeah,
GC. Yeah. So I was looking at that and that looked amazing.
yeah.
If AI user generated content is that good, I think pretty soon I've spoken to my social media team also. I've told them to check out that app and see if there's any use. Right now, my use for AI is very limited to like draft like job opening posts and stuff like that. But I mean, to say no would be stupid because I think AI is going to be a part of everyday life and it's going to be so integral to our lives. And I think there's a lot of value add, especially in terms of creatives and designing content. Even these UGC videos, if they take off, like it'll save us a lot of money in terms of for content creation.
But if you
So
look to AI for like chatting, maybe like somebody who can explain your products via like your website, things like that.
I personally have not. We've been approached by like some people who do those WhatsApp chatbots.
Yeah, yeah.
But right now at our scale, we have two people who are looking after customer service. And I just like, I don't know, maybe it's my own internal bias, but I think when dealing with people, I think having a person is maybe when we're at a scale where you can't, where it's unfeasible to have that many people in customer service, maybe we look at. But right now, I prefer having a person just for them to report to me what the customer was like, what they said, what their issues or grievances were.
No, yeah, for sure. I think it makes sense, especially like if you're only focused like on the Indian market. But of course, if your products are expanding, I mean, here in the US, for example, maybe like with time differences, things like that,
For
it would
sure.
help
I
to get
think
those.
correct. With time differences, I mean only the US is English, so that's fine. But other geographies where English isn't like the primary language. For those, and even if we scale to a certain level within India, like I know of people who use AI currently for their customer service needs and stuff. And I'm sure like if the need arises, I'm not opposed to it.
For
But yeah, I
sure.
think for sure initially we look at it more for the creative part, for content creation.
Makes sense. So what would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this business?
I mean, there's a lot. The one thing that comes to mind is to grow sustainably, to not like it's okay, like you don't have to you see other people online or on Shark Tank or whatever other platforms, and you always be like, why not me? Why not reach that growth? But growing sustainably, looking after your bottom line, because even those crazy VC years of 2018 to 21, where everyone was just growth at all costs, I think that the world has changed now. I think profitability is important. Even if you're not profitable initially, that's fine. But as long as you have a clear path to break even and profitability, I think that's more important than your top line.
I agree 100%. I think, profitability is king in 2024, especially because, people have so much trouble raising money. And so it's like, that's what VCs like are looking for. And just in general, it's like, if you're not profitable, it's like, how can you sustain your business? That just doesn't make sense.
We've seen, I'm sure in the States too, where with the funding winter and funds drying up, we've seen so many D2C brands having to shut it down. And some of these were big brands, at least in India, like huge brands in 2016, 17, but they've just like not had the funds, and the funds have just dried up. They've done down rounds and then now they just had to shut it down.
For
So
sure.
that is an important learning for sure.
For sure. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you see things going for your business?
1 year from now, I want to build a presence in at least 10 Indian cities. I want to be present on 2 or 3 quick commerce platforms. And most importantly, I want the brand Prime Foods to be more, right now we're a regional brand. I want it to be somewhat of a national brand 12 months from now.
Awesome. And we're rooting for you guys. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out, do you mind sharing your website or social media? I guess best ways for someone to get in contact.
Sure. You can always reach out to me personally on Twitter or Instagram. It's Karnik25, my name with 25. And if you want to reach out to the company, you can DM us on Instagram at Prime Foods India. That's at Prime Foods India. And our website is primefoodsin.com. Primefoodsin.com.
Awesome. Well, Karnik, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks so much, Dan. It was a pleasure.
Likewise. Thanks. All right. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. And stuff.